Oh, mate, you'll never guess what's happened.
No, go on.
Right, so a Japanese city, right, has new guidelines for its citizens to only use smartphones for 2 hours a day. Have you heard about this?
No, how would that work then? Are we talking about like screen time?
I have no idea. So they've got like 70,000 citizens, right, in this city, and the city's called Toyoake. Toyoake? I believe I'm saying that right. Toyoake.
Okay.
And they've released some guidelines. I don't think it's going to be like legally implemented, but the guidelines are that you should only use your smartphone for 2 hours a day. And they've been talking to elementary schools, and they suggest that elementary school kids should avoid using them after 9 p.m. and high school kids shouldn't use them after 10 p.m. And I think there probably is a logic in that, isn't there?
I think so as well. Having two young children myself,
Yeah.
I have seen the dangers firsthand of over excessive use of these phones, communication tools,
Yeah.
having constant access to the internet. I'll give you a great example, Jake, of one of the struggles that my children went through, and I know that a lot of other children have gone through this struggle as well, and a lot of other parents have gone through this struggle. When my kids were at school, they were in a WhatsApp group.
Right.
Now, this WhatsApp group had every single child of the school in the group.
What?
Every single one. So within the group, there were 400 plus members.
Oh, no.
Now, this group would be going off with conversations throughout the night. The phones would be buzzing, they would be ringing. They wouldn't be stopping, where people had this constant need to comment on something that happened earlier on during the school day.
That sounds knackering.
It is. It's knackering, but it's also quite harming as well.
Yeah.
Because if you think back to when my generation was at school,
Back in
my day, you had an opportunity for escapism.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to put things aside for a moment.
Yeah.
So, because school is hard,
Yeah.
and the community at school is difficult, and it can often be that there's a problem at school, and you want to go home, and you want to escape, and you want to have time to just have some peace.
Yeah.
And in that time, you can reflect, and you can often find the answers, or you can seek some help to deal with it.
Definitely. And
But-
don't get me wrong, I think technology is amazing. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this
No, of
without
course
good
we-
technology.
no,
and communication has never been easier. And like, if I wanted to learn more about Japan, I can just go on to a smartphone or an iPad or whatever, and the information's there firsthand from people that live there, you know. But I think that the idea of a cut-off, just so that we can be present and experience life and where we're at and not miss the world going on around us, I think maybe, you know, guidelines like that are probably a good idea. And it's not saying, you know, it's going to be like 1984, where, as far as I know, there's not any legal implications for it. It's just like health guidelines saying that, you know, it's good to indulge in it, and then maybe put it away and sit down with your family for dinner.
Yeah, you know, I'm not one for government control over these things. I think it's really important that we have free choice, but informed choice at the same time. And
Informed choice. I think that's it.
yeah, and we're living in an age of a birth of technology.
Yeah.
You know, everyone can't stop talking about AI at the moment, and how that's quickly changing the world. We're seeing it develop at an exponential rate that we, as humans, we can't keep up with.
That's right.
And so we're living in this birth of something new. And within that moment, there's a lot of discovery to be had. There's a lot of conversations, and there's a lot of help that's going to be needed, and guidance also.
Yeah.
And most importantly, this is a moment where I think we need to protect the young.
Definitely. And just like, you know, I don't want to patronise them, because obviously, I mean, young people know far more about technology than I do because they've grown up with it. But I think just like, we all know that having your phone out before you go to bed isn't going to guarantee you a good night's sleep. So, you know, keep in contact with your mates, but when you start to feel it going a bit haywire, just put the phone down.
And I think it's important also, separate from technology, that we need to have moments where we're alone. Because
Definitely.
being alone is quite hard.
Yeah.
Being alone, I think we all strive and we all crave connection. And that's wonderful. And it's one of the greatest things that we can experience as human beings and as birds. But
Thank you.
But I think to be a good human being, we need to be okay with just being by ourselves for a moment.
Yeah.
And if we're constantly on our phone, constantly communicating, we're not having that space.
I think there's some gems to find in being bored. I think like some of my best ideas or like clarity about what I want in life and what I want to do has come from being bored and learning how to entertain myself, you know. And I think there's something good about that. So I think it's about having a healthy balance in it, because it's important for the young generation to keep up with what their mates are doing. That's really important for them, and we can't really understand that. But then like have a healthy balance.
See, being bored when I was younger, when I was at school, I remember sitting there and looking out of the classroom window, and I would tell myself stories in my head, and
Too.
I would say I was very bored at school. However, those stories developed my career.
Yeah.
Those stories developed me as who I am today in the jobs that I do.
Yeah.
And so without that moment of boredom, I wouldn't be doing what I do now. I wouldn't be as creative as I am now.
Yeah, and I think it's really valuable. I used to sit in my nest, right, and look up at the leaves up in my tree, and I used to try and make shapes out of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what sparked my daydreaming and my creativity, because now I'm not frightened of being by myself, because I can appreciate the world around me, and I love trees and I love nature and all those things. Like, and I don't think I would if I just spent my childhood bickering with my brothers and sisters over who's going to get the worm, you know?
Of course. So have you any idea, Jake? Have you any idea how we can look for the boredom and change our perspective from boredom being a bad thing to being a good thing?
I think it's just noticing the world around us. Life is never actually boring when you think about it. I know it's easy for kids to get bored, and I get bored. I'm not saying that I don't, but you can create games about life around you. Like if you sat on a park bench, I love people watching. And I've heard from other actors on your podcast that people watching is a really great way to create stories and learn about people around us. Like, who was it? There was someone on Instagram who was talking about, I think her name was like Melanie Murphy or something. She's a writer, and she was talking about how she grew up in the 90s, and now her and her husband encourage their kids to not have iPads or smartphones when they go to restaurants. And she said it's hard. Like as a parent, it'd be so much easier to give them a smartphone, but the benefit of that is her kids are now watching human interactions, and they're watching how businessmen talk at the table next to them, or how two partners talk to each other, or how people discuss the food or the weather or the waiters or the fact that their food's late. They're learning about all these social situations firsthand, without even thinking about it, just because they're bored. So they're looking around and noticing things and coming up with theories. And she said they discuss them at the dinner table. They might say, "Oh, why is that lady wearing a funny hat?" And instead of saying, "Oh, she's wearing a wedding hat, she's going to a wedding," this woman will ask her kids, you know, "Well, where do you think she's going?" And I'm guessing that kind of thing. I'm guessing those kind of conversations. It sparks creativity and understanding. And I think we can learn a lot about human connection over the phone, but life isn't boring. Really, when you look for the creativity and you look for the moments, it's not that boring at all.
So, Jake, have you heard of the simulation theory?
Is that the really scary theory that we're all living in a sim?
That's right. Yeah, that
Right.
we're all part of a computer simulation.
Like
Well,
Sims?
Like Sims, yeah.
Right, okay.
And like you said, a lot of people look at that and go, "Oh, that's scary." Well, I look at that and go, "There's a lot of excitement there." Let's
Okay, tell me.
Like I look at it like this. Let's say that we are in a simulation. What's to say that that simulation isn't actually a game that we have decided to play?
Interesting.
And within that game, there is clues, there is adventures, there is challenges. And to find those challenges, to find those clues, to find the game, all we have to do is sit there and look for it.
That's really interesting. I've only ever heard the scary theories behind it, like we have no control and there's a giant controlling us.
Yes.
But that gives back a little bit more power, I guess, that theory, because it's like we've chosen to do this and maybe it's about life is about exploring, really, isn't it? I believe it's about finding as many connections and fascinating things as you can. Just, it's an open world, as they'd say in the gaming world. It's an open world game.
It's an open world game. Yeah, it's an open world adventure that we can choose to play if we wish.
Life is an open world adventure that we can choose to play.
Wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing again, Jake.
No, thank you.
It's always an exciting journey in your world.
So much fun.
Hope to see you again soon.
See you later.